This week on Raising America on the Hill, we have the very difficult conversation as what do you do as your kids get older and they may not need you as much? Maybe you took some time out of the workforce. And our partners at the Hill are reporting that women are outpacing men in higher education, but the boardroom tells a different story. Did you see this headline? So why are so many women sitting on the sidelines? We spoke with the CEO and founder of Kuel Life. Her name is Jacqueline Perez, and we dig deep in all of these very uncomfortable conversations. Kids are getting older every day, right? And so this is sort of the next iteration that I'm looking forward to, if you will.
Yeah.
So
It's an exciting, it gets better and better, I promise you. You're still in the trough a little bit, but I gotta promise you it gets amazing. And it gets amazing fairly quickly here. So hang on.
well, and I think, for me, it's actually sort of terrifying because I love my little people. And
How old are your kids?
I have a 10, 7, and 5.
Okay.
And some may call me controlling, a little helicoptery. I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why. But I also know that I can't control them, even though I would love to. And so the helicopter probably has to land here, especially as we enter middle school. So there's this next chapter that I'm looking into. So I'm sort of looking at all the women who are like older sisters or cousins that are one step ahead of me. And the challenges that you face, you work with women every day. What do you hear from women?
So many things. And I'm so glad that you're asking this. And I love the fact that you are a woman in your 40s, because this is actually one of the things that I preach to my fellow women in my age category. And it's, I want to solve this problem, this normalizing of aging problem for women, so that when you get to this phase, you can solve some other problem. I don't want you to have to deal with this one.
Mhm.
I want us, the women that are currently 50 plus, to be the models for what it means to be a woman over 50 in our world today. Because yes, there are a lot of limitations, but there are far more expectations and far
Mhm.
more wonderful things to look forward to. For a lot of women, what hits them first is the physiological change of menopause. Did you say you had a friend that you were speaking to, a woman who's in the throes of menopause?
Yes. And so I keep on asking her, okay, what's first? And she said, you'll wake up in the middle of the night and you'll say, oh, I got to change my sheets. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so that's the number, because, you get so hypersensitive. You're like, oh, wait, is this it? I'm waking up in the middle of the night, or I'm irritable. You could also just be a mother. So you might be waking up in the middle of the night and being irritable.
Well, that's really interesting that you said that, because I have one child and I had him late in life. I waited till I was 38. And so in my early 40s, I had a child in kindergarten or whatever. I was also training as a martial artist, and so I was training like 20 hours a week. And I was having trouble sleeping. I was having night sweats. I was having irregular hormonal, like I didn't know that they were hormonal changes. I thought, okay, I'm just in the throes of motherhood. I'm just in the throes of physically training too hard that my body can't keep up. In hindsight, after going through menopause, and when I really went through menopause, which was my early 50s, and I got to tell you, Liz, menopause came at me like a tractor trailer.
Oh, I love that.
You name
There
it,
we go.
I experienced it. Night sweats was just one of them. I gained 40 pounds. I looked like a Shar-Pei puppy. You know how you could pick up a Shar-Pei puppy by the back fat? That's
Adorable.
what I that well, adorable on the puppy. Not so adorable on me.
I can't wait.
Well, right. So
Right,
there
right.
was a 40-pound weight gain. I
Oh,
was anxious for the first time in my life. I am a glass three-quarters full person.
yeah.
I found myself sad and depressed. I couldn't feel joy. I was having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning.
I
I
can't
was a
wait.
terrible version of myself. No, no,
Right.
no, no. Girlfriend, no, you don't have to go through it. That's the thing. So this is about, I'm 61 now. This is a while ago. We were not having these conversations. That is actually part of the reason I built the community I did, because I couldn't find answers. This is part of what I'm saying. The legacy I want to leave behind is so that you don't have to suffer the way that I suffered, or that the way other women my age had to suffer. And not everyone does, by the way, Liz. I know plenty of women because I talk to hundreds of women, probably thousands by now. And there is a fair contingency, fair, big enough contingency of women who go through menopause and it's normal and it doesn't really bother them one way or the other. And the reality is that it is a normal process. Every other human being goes through it, every other human being. And so, yeah, that's it. It was really hard on me. I had to go find answers, and it took me years. And I tried everything. You name it, I tried it. Supplements, no
I'm
supplements,
sure.
drinking, no drinking, going to bed early, going to bed late, exercise, no exercise, more water, less water. You name it, I tried it.
So let's talk cheat code, right? Because I mean, I could say, oh, I'm only in my early 40s, but that train is coming, and I can tell you that I almost have no conception of time at this point because if your kids aren't involved in 45 million social things, and like you, I waited until my late 30s, and so talk about a train. I mean, I can barely hang on. I mean, I'm just like hanging on as it's going, so it's going to be here any day.
It is. I'll tell you what worked for me, and I am not suggesting that this is a one shop stop all kind of thing or a panacea at all. I think women need to do their internal work and figure out what works for them. What worked for me ended up being bioidentical hormone replacement therapy.
Mhm.
I went to the medical community and dug deep and found answers, because they now have realized, and they now admit that those studies that were done that prevented women from access to HRT because of the cancer threat, those studies have been debunked.
Yeah.
And they now understand that hormone replacement therapy not only helps you, gain your body back, or, gain the mental acuity back, it also helps stave off dementia. It also
Mhm.
helps with bone density. There are a lot of reasons that we need to pay attention to the hormone balance in our body. And it has to be balanced, right? Because you can't just be like estrogen heavy. If you're estrogen heavy, you're going to see weight gain, and there's nothing you can do about it, Liz. You can exercise till the cows come home. You can eat carrot sticks. If your body is making more estrogen than the other hormones, that's just how it's going to show up.
Yeah. Oh, I can't even. I would lose my mind. There's probably something to be said there. Probably should go to therapy for that. Uh,
Just
but
have your hormones tested, and the saliva test is better than the blood test. Well, you're still probably menstruating, is my guess, at your age, and so it's not really the time to be doing it right now. But in a few years, I would just start maybe taking a base level, just to
yeah.
kind of see where you are, because information is power.
Yep. Well, and you don't want to be caught going off a cliff, right? Everybody likes an off ramp. Like if you're in the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains, and my kids are always like, "Why are those big ramps for trucks?" And I said, "Well, you don't want to be going off that side. If your brakes go, you want to be going on the off ramp or what have you." You
Right.
know
And
what?
usually it's a pretty steep incline, so it'll
Yeah,
slow you down, right?
right. I need all the ramps. I'm looking for a ramp right now. I'll take a ramp any way I can get it. Now, one of the reasons the conversation is so important is because if you wake up and you can't get out of bed, or if you've gained 40 pounds, or if you're a glass three quarters and then it's empty, is that you can't be a functioning member of society. And it's no slight to moms who want to stay home. But some of the moms I talk to say, okay, well, my kids they need me differently than they needed me in elementary school. So I want to contribute. I want to get back to work. And that's going to be impossible. It's going to be, you can't do it if you're crippled with all of these ailments. So when you work with women, maybe they feel like they're transitioning hormonally, but they're also transitioning. And I think it's important that you stay mentally active, whatever it may be, right? It's a challenge for women.
Very much so. Personally, for me, once my child got into about eighth grade, I became a houseplant.
Mhm.
Basically, I needed to sit in the corner, provide oxygen, but kind of needed to mind my own business. because there was way too much eye rolling going on. And okay, so what do? I don't want to be just a houseplant. I have 40 years left of me, and I'm a pretty smart cookie, and I have a lot to give back to the world. What am I going to do? And that I am not special. There's hordes of us. That is actually one of the most amazing things that's happening right now, Liz, is that Wells Fargo just did a study. 39% of the businesses in the US are held by women.
Mhm.
And that number is increasing. And in part, it's because of what you just said. The caregiving is diminishing to some degree. Also, aging parents, after you get to a certain age, aging parents, you start to lose them, right?
Mhm.
But they were very demanding for a period of time. So if you're lessening your child care and you're lessening your adult care, a lot of times women are also exiting corporate America around this time, whether they want to or not. There just seems to be a big exodus. And so now they're like, I have an entire lifetime ahead of me.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? And so many women are excited to give back, to leave a legacy behind that's bigger than ever. And honestly, I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for that.
I'm such an advocate for that, and I had a similar conversation with Paula Ferris. She used to work in New York City, worked for Good Morning America, a very well-known face, and she said during one of our sit downs is, you know, talk about a resume blurb being a parent. Once you become a parent, it is essentially a superpower. And I think that we forget that. And I would always say, I worked the weekend shift for years at Fox News. And I thought that the women and the moms on my team were some of the most productive. They only had childcare on the weekends, but they talk about producer extraordinaire. I think we forget that women are still hungry to contribute to the workforce. They just feel torn maybe a little bit differently than men do, especially as they get a little bit older. But we forget the fact that being a parent is such a superpower for women to get back into the workforce. So do you motivate women and say, "Wait a second, this is not something that holds you back. This is actually an attribute. It's a wonderful quality that you did this."
Oh, absolutely. If you think about what your every position when you're a parent, every position from physician to chef to chauffeur to tutor to
Therapist.
concierge. I mean, what position do you not play with your children? Is
Mhm.
there is there is there a position that you don't play? Women really don't get how incredibly qualified they are to enter that workforce once their kids are, grown enough that they don't need them anymore. And I can relate because I used to own a marketing and PR firm in the Bay Area in San Francisco for years. And then when I had my child at 38, I stepped off that train and I became a fractional executive. So I was like a part-time CEO or a part-time chief marketing officer. And I did that because I wanted to fully experience the motherhood train. And I didn't believe I could do that if I kept the other train going at full speed. And so I stepped off that train and got on this train. Then, like I said, once my child got into middle school and I became the house plant, I'm like, well, what do I do now?
Mhm.
And at that time, honestly, for me, I didn't feel like I could play well with others. I kind of needed to do my own thing, which is why I started my own gig. And I haven't looked back since. And it's every day I get more energized. And every day, I'm 61 and I look ahead, I'm like, oh my God, I'm having so much fun and I'm making such a difference being part of the sea change of what it means to age in our world.
Mhm. So, can you share with us some of these like secret sauce or hacks? Because I think, we look at these headlines and there's less women in the workforce than there was in 2020. And it could be childcare. It could be, like you said, it's a myriad of factors. I'm part of the sandwich generation too. And we really are pulled in a number of directions. But eventually, some of the pressures will be relieved. And I will be a houseplant, right? I get it. I can visualize myself there. So when you work with women, when you counsel them through this period, do you share with them tips and tricks and ways to get over these hurdles?
Yes, absolutely. And some of the things that is shared in our community, because I am not an expert on everything. We talked a little bit about menopause, right? And the physiological change.
Right.
Well, that's for a lot of us, that's the thing that kind of brings the aging thing up for us and it rears its ugly head. It's how our body is adapting or changing. There are a ton of other happenings at the same time. So if you decided to have kids or you got one by accident, they're moving on. If you have teens in the house and you're taking care of your elderly parents, your teen could be stealing your car at 3 a.m. and then at 5 a.m. you get a call from the assisted living facility that your mom broke a hip. The largest number of divorces are handed out by women after 50.
I was
So
gonna
how do
tackle
you
that one with you. I was gonna
how do
tackle
you
that one.
start dating after 50? How do you date with a dry vagina? The thing is that there are
True.
so many opportunities and challenges that present themselves at this time of life that I believe it is as tumultuous, if not more, than puberty was. And there's no sweet 16 party being thrown for us. I don't
Mm-mm.
see one of those. And so we have to do it for ourselves. And for a lot of women, what it ends up being is that they hang out their shingle and that they become entrepreneurs. If they can't get back into the marketplace because the marketplace isn't allowing that to happen for whatever reason, ageism is a real thing and it affects everyone. It's not just women don't get to just own that problem. It's across the board. We are a youth centric culture, which is a shame because the wisdom that
Mhm.
comes with age, I would
Can't
put
beat
up,
it.
yeah, I would put up that against any AI tool or any 20 something or 30 something.
So when you hear, and it's funny, I worked out with a woman this morning. I'm going to tell her that I use this story, and she said that her husband was getting ready at a work event last week, and he went and got a haircut and a fresh shower and shaved, and she said, "How do you look better in your mid 40s than you did when you were 20?" She said, "Why do men start to look better?" And she's like, "But I just don't feel that." And I will say, I said, I think we're at a disadvantage, but then again, I think you can get there, but you have to work at it, right? So there's no shortcuts, right? We have to figure out a way, like you said, whether it be biohacking or investing in. So how do you motivate women? Say, hey, you are valuable and you do look great. You do look great.
Well, and that's why I focus on the normalization of aging because here's the deal. You want to go gray? Go gray.
Mhm.
You don't want to go gray, which clearly I do not, then don't go gray.
You look great.
You want Botox? Get Botox. You don't want
Yeah.
Botox? Don't get Botox. We need it to be okay. And sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Sometimes we can be really mean to each other. And instead, if we support each other's decisions, the sheer number of us, Liz, there's so many of us that if instead of being divisive and finding what works for all of us, where that Venn diagram resides, think about how powerful our voices could be.
Now, divisive. So, I'm not trying to put you on the hot seat here. Is it women versus women? Is it the political landscape?
Oh,
What are
no,
some of the
no, no, I don't think it's necessarily the political landscape at
okay?
all. I think that some women, if they believe that you should go natural and have gray hair, I have been, I don't know, attacked is too big of a word, but told
Sure.
how dare I claim to be a pro-aging champion when I color my hair and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
allow
So it's a
myself to go gray. And my answer to that is I was born a brunette. And
mhm,
around 20 something, I decided that I was really a redhead. And so I changed my hair color in my 20s and no one said boo about that.
mhm.
Why am I getting boo now? I'm still a redhead.
That's
Why do
true.
now I have to go to gray because you say so?
So it's division on perception on what we.
Correct.
Okay. So everyday.
On how we should age, on the right way to age.
So you're trying
Yes.
to break down those barriers essentially, and
Yes,
you're
I
building
want
a
it
community.
yes, I want it to be normal for a woman to choose how it works for her
Mhm.
and to not face judgment from other women. Because it's the other women that are judging you, it's not the men.
Oh, they don't care.
They do not care. Do you remember like a few years ago, the Super Bowl? I don't know if I mean, I'm not a football person, but I was watching the Super Bowl halftime with J-Lo and Shakira. The backlash that came at those women because how dare they dance like that after 50 and how dare they wear those scantily clad outfits. And I'm an essayist and I actually wrote an essay basically that said we need to take a lesson from the men here because you don't hear the men with their pot bellies and their six pack of beer complaining that the quarterback shouldn't be running that fast,
Yeah, it's
right? So if you want to look like that, then you know what? J-Lo has a pretty tough regiment. If you're willing to suck it up the way J-Lo's willing to suck it up, no alcohol, a certain diet, incredible exercise, but don't sit there on the sidelines and criticize these women who are living their life the way they want to live it.
Can you imagine if the roles were reversed with Bill Belichick and there was like an elderly, maybe she owned a team and she had like a what is she, Jordan, 26, 27-year-old
Yeah. Yeah.
boyfriend that would sit with her in the boardroom. Can you imagine the pushback? Like we could never get away with that. The double standards are unbelievable. So
Yep.
what if this is a new journey for you? You took on this journey after your son, if I'm not mistaken, you said 8th grade when you started your own journey. What have you learned? What has been most surprising during this journey? I
So
know it's a
many
loaded
things.
question, right?
Well, no, it's just I'm surprised almost every single day. That's what's amazing about this journey. I like to say this one thing because, and this is a completely selfish thing, I did not anticipate this. I did not do it for this outcome. They talk about loneliness being a big epidemic and that say that word,
I know.
loneliness and not having connection, human connection, is actually harder on you and a bigger leader of death, early death, than BMI or smoking a six pack of cigarettes a day or whatever. I'm not a smoker when I just called it a six pack,
Yeah.
whatever it
I
is.
got it. I got it. I got it. I probably would have called it like a 12 or a 14. I
Well,
don't
I
even
don't
know.
even know, but you know what I'm saying. That loneliness and not having connection is worse for you health wise and will lead to early death and dementia. Here's what's happened to me because I built this community. I have found the most spectacular women all around the world that
Mhm.
have become real friends. I mean, in my phone friends, they text me, "Hey, I know your son left today. How are you feeling?" These are women that write for me, that are part of my community, that provide their expertise in their lane for the world to access. Because I'll say it again, information is power, and I want to get the information out there for women. But what's ended up happening, I ended up with a slew of geographically undesirable friends, but still really good friends.
Actually, I think that's valid. And so we hate on social media so much, and we use it to promote all of our products and
Right.
whatnot. But years ago, I met a woman online who I it was like a personal trainer of mine, and she helped me learn how to track my macros. And I went through, and now she's a very good friend of mine. I've met her in person. It was like an online, and we make this joke. We both have these careers that sort of are aligned, and now she's someone who she's in my phone and I could text her right now and I could. So I don't think it's impossible. I think there are ways we could use this and connect with other people, and I don't think it's weird. I mean, you and I both have friends in the area where we're satiated,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Social media is a tool. It's no
Yeah.
different than a toaster. You stick bread in the toaster too long and it's not going to come out so good. Social media, it's a tool and it has been an amazing tool. I currently have very deep relationships and connections to women that I still have not had the opportunity to IRL them. I have not had the opportunity to hug them. It will happen, but they are in my phone. We talk, we are connected, and the connection is deep and
Mhm.
meaningful, and it fills my cup.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have had them without having access to the tool that everyone likes to poo poo called
Mhm.
social media.
It doesn't I don't spiral either. And I think it's just a different personality. You know, we talk to moms who have had teenagers almost, take their own lives, and then we have others who have started businesses at 17 online, and now they have, their college tuition paid off. So I agree with you. It is how you use it, and it, of course, like you said, if you can burn the toast. Now, for before I let you go, when you speak to women like me and even women who are younger, you said to me at the very beginning, it gets better. So for me, I'm clinging on to the now because I have, the digital frame in our kitchen and the baby pictures pop up. And I just think to myself, is the best behind me? And it's one of my biggest fears is that I had the opportunity to have these three kids and I spent so much time with them and I was able to work at the same time. And there's no way it could get better than this. And I'm a glass three quarters person too, but I'm really scared of the future.
Oh, I literally want to reach out and just hold you. I mean, you're really bringing it up the mama bear in me. First of all, you're not anywhere near done the stuff. I mean, you've got little ones still. You've got little ones. Enjoy them because it goes so fast. And I know how challenging it can be to have little ones. I don't know about you. I loved being a mother. I didn't enjoy parenting that much.
Right.
Tie your shoe, tie your shoe, tie your shoe, tie your shoe. Did you get your homework done? Did you get your homework done? Did you get your homework? No, you make eye contact and you shake their hand and it's got to be firm. And when they say, how are you? You respond. And then the polite thing is to respond, how are you? And then you have to wait for an answer. Oh, shoot me now.
All day.
But I loved the belly kisses and I loved, the game of fly me where he would run down the hallway and I'd put him up on my feet. I loved mothering him. I did not enjoy parenting him. I still am so glad that I made the decisions that I made to be present and kind of suck it up because it goes so fast. And here's the deal, when they're grown and flown, you're going to go through another transition. You will, because you will have spent decades playing a particular role, the main character in your children's lives. And when you're removed from that main character role, whew, it can be really challenging. Parenting adult children, for me, has been a bigger challenge than
Mm.
parenting smaller children because I have to mother from the margins. I have to mother with my mouth closed. Even though you'll know the answers, Liz, you will know the answers because you've done it and you've experienced it. You won't be allowed to share the answers because it will be their turn to figure it out for themselves. And that transition, my love, is going to be tough. After you get through that, because here's the thing with humans, you can't stay in the same space forever. You can't feel a bad emotion forever, just like you can't feel a good emotion forever. Once you process that, and all of a sudden you get to look in the mirror and say, what does Liz want now? What is going to fulfill Liz? What is going to fill Liz's cup of joy?
Mhm.
And that you have, you know, 30, 40 years left of healthy lifespan to make it happen. Oh, girl, you're going to come back to me and go, okay, yeah, now I understand. I get it. You're right. You were right. It's so much better now.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so Jacqueline, where can people, if they need you for a resource, are you accessible? Is it easy to find you? Where can we find you?
Yes, I run a digital platform that has probably now hundreds of different thought leaders globally that all have expertise. They're hacking the opportunities and challenges that do present themselves right now for us women. And it's called Kuel Life, but it's spelled all cattywampus. It's spelled with a K. So it's KUEL life. And yes, I got the word cool from the Urban Dictionary. It is a synonym for, the other kind of cool. Because I think that you should be able to have a cool life the entire time you're here.
Is it because you have suppressed anxiety about how people pronounce your name like me? Is it Jacqueline? I think I said Jacqueline at the beginning, and you were so kind about it. You don't have to be kind to me. I'm a parent. I got thick skin. Say woman, get it right.
I figure you have 3 people battling you. You didn't need one more. So,
Don't forget my husband. There's 4 of them.
oh yeah, and they sometimes take the cake,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. He's my 4th. Well, we're going to put all of your information in the synopsis in YouTube. And so that way people can find you online and women can feel invigorated. I mean, I do. Like I said, I have all this trepidation, but after speaking with you, I feel like maybe the best really is yet to come. So thank you for that.
I promise you it is. I promise you it is.
Thank
I'm
you for
not lying.
joining. Okay. I'm going
Thank
to hold
you.
you to it. I have your information. So now you can't run.
I'm not going anywhere. And as I get older, I run less and less. So yeah, I'm easy to catch.
I don't know what my excuse is. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I have, like our viewers know, 3 kids under the age of 10. And I actually do consider myself still in the marketing campaign because they're not yet.
Yeah.
They're like miniature garden gnomes. So I think I want to pick your brain. I'm also not experiencing night sweats. I blame everything on perimenopause, but then my husband's like, that doesn't work for me. So I'm
Yeah.
Googling other alternatives. But luckily you're so old that I can
Right.
use that excuse for you. So that's kind of my twofold is answer the child thing and then again, like basically you're a dinosaur. And so I
Yeah.
can ask you menopause. Those two questions.
Yes. Yes. I would like to state I went through what's called early menopause. So although I am a dinosaur, I am not as old as some of the T-Rexes that live in our neighborhood. Um, so after I got the COVID shot, I never got my period again. So they're just classifying it as
Oh,
menopause.
I love it when you wait, is this a conspiracy theory? I mean, I was gonna like kind of get into
No, it
politics
actually
slowly.
happened.
Oh, dang it. I was gonna weave in politics slowly, but luckily you just did it for me.
Well,
You're like a host now.
we're here. Yeah, it is.
I've heard
It's
that before, by the way, with
my
a lot of women.
perimenopause. My perimenopause pause phase lasted quicker, I guess. Maybe I felt some of the side effects of it, but the menopause hit me fast and furious, and
But I mean, most
it's
importantly, did you get
it's
COVID? Did you get COVID or no?
yeah, like 5 times.
You So wait, you didn't ever get a period again and you were thrust into menopause, but you also got COVID 5 times? Well, I've heard this
Yeah.
one before.
Oh yeah, I just feel like I'm a real magnet to it. But it was still like COVID going on. So to be honest with you, I thought I was pregnant. I was, oh my gosh, I'm 46 and pregnant. What? I'm so fertile. And my husband's
Cheers.
sperm, who had a vasectomy, he's like his sperm are so super, even though there's no way.
Yeah, I
And
get it.
I took about 87 pregnancy tests, I think,
That's
and
it?
just debated which set of stairs I was going to throw myself down.
Yeah, I
I
get
joke.
that.
But
That's
then,
nice you have 2 that you can choose.
yes, yes, yes. And then I just was like, okay, this is what it is. So, my doctor has been great. I think the biggest thing is having a doctor that's cool, a gynecologist that's cool and kind of treats you like you're kind of like buddies. So
What you're saying is that you have someone who'll just prescribe you anything?
I get nervous during the pap smears and sometimes you need a Xanax.
I know we're on, a platform here. I've never tried it. We can get into drug use too, but I was actually gonna wait on that one too, especially because 'cause we're
Okay.
talking about teens.
Yeah.
But okay, so you're navigating parenthood, you're getting COVID 5 times,
Yeah.
entering menopause, and then
Yeah.
your kids are also entering a time in their lives when they're getting hormones that they've never well, you're losing yours, as I mentioned, but your kids are
Correct.
getting hormones.
They're gaining
So
them.
yeah, that must be fun. It's like a
Oh, it's
roller
a
coaster.
blast. It's a blast. I have a one in college, and I just visited him, which is why my throat sounds so just great. And I have a daughter in high school, and my son kind of tricked us, like maybe this won't be so hard,
Mhm.
and Liz knows he loves a good party.
Yeah.
He loves to have them at my house.
Mm.
He loves when I'm not there.
Ooh,
um
fun.
Fun. But my daughter has really taught me a lot about patience.
Mm,
uh Alcohol use before 5 is fine.
okay. Yeah, that's good
um
to know. I guess I could introduce it.
Of course you can. But it's funny because you're a psychopath and
Mhm.
she's a psychopath because she's just getting her period and going through all those hormones, and I'm losing them. And my husband and my son are like, "Oh my God, they don't know who's going to kill them." Um,
Well, but the son in college thing, you know what I'm a little bit worried about is, first of all, now when I talk to parents, it's like you can't get into college. And I want my kids to live with me forever. But like I said, they haven't started hormones yet. So I probably won't want them to live with me when the time comes. But now it seems like kids can't get into college or it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And
yeah,
I don't want to spend that on me.
yeah. No, both of those things are absolutely exact. It is $100,000 and they don't get it. No, we supposedly, I mean, I know that this isn't terribly factual, but a friend of mine said that last year was the cliff. There's the most kids that'll ever apply to college was last year, which was perfect because that's when my son, who is he is adorable, he is kind, he is not the most academic, but he saw school, he absolutely loved it, and he's there, and then he's thriving. And it does cost a lot, and it's unbelievable. Then it's not just that; it's fraternities, and
Yeah.
I mean, I really did a bad job with my kids teaching them about a budget. They just don't understand that credit cards you actually do have to pay,
Right.
and when my name's on it, it's actually I do.
Okay,
Um,
so you cut them off? What are you gonna do? And also,
no,
the alcohol use, do you know what freaks me out is
yeah,
I've just been doing news so long, and I always, especially my youngest, he is only 5, so I'm not really sure I should be telling him that he shouldn't be a frat boy yet. But I don't want him to be one of those kids that's like, "I can drink the most," and then he falls down. I just don't, I have all these fears about college fraternities. So, can I lock him in the basement or
you could,
okay.
and you might want to, but I do feel like fraternities back in, well, I can't say your day because you're a baby. Back in my day,
Right.
were definitely a lot riskier, and we did a whole lot of stuff. And of course, there's been horrible, horrible events that these kids have gotten into. But for the most part, I know at my son's school, which is a gigantic uh, huge fraternity sorority thing, they were not as bad as I thought. Like it was more kind of team building stuff, and of course my son's no snitch. He's not going to tell me anyway. But my biggest fear as a parent of teens, it's not the drinking because they're going to drink in college. It's not the staying out late. It's the like getting roofied or the fentanyl,
Yeah.
and just getting in your car after a drink, even if it was in the morning and it's at night. I just don't allow it. And I didn't even let him bring his car.
I do start the narrative quickly where I tell my daughter, "I just don't want you buying fentanyl on Snapchat." And her
Right,
response is, "I'm 10, I don't have a cell phone, I don't know what fentanyl is, and I don't know what Snapchat is." And I
right.
said, "That is details are unimportant."
No,
I
right,
start that
right.
early.
And like I said, when you guys switched public, I knew that my kids could really count on your kids to get them some good drugs because they're at private.
I mean, it's true, right? We
It
are
is
kind of
true,
hood rats. And I tell her that early. I also say, "You're going to school today, make good choices,
yeah,
don't have sex, don't do drugs." And then
yeah,
she just keeps on saying, I'm 10." I'm
yeah.
like, "How is that important? How I don't
Yeah.
understand. What's the argument here?"
Well, listen, you're drilling it into her head, and I
Yeah.
just feel like nagging is a form of prayer,
Yeah.
And now I say to my daughter, you can't unslut.
Yeah.
Once you slut, you can't unslut. You're
Valid.
still that slut.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of things I listen. I could give a parenting class, but I'm like busy, so
Yeah.
you can't unslut. You kind of can't even undrunk because when you act like
Yeah.
an idiot, nobody wants you to come to their party anymore.
Well, that and I'm drilling that into my 5-year-old. Again,
Of
I just don't
course.
think it's too early because when I see him
Well,
in
they're in public
kindergarten,
school.
they're in public school, right? Big class, 30 kids. I have a great relationship with his teacher, and we both agree that he's always trying to be the class clown,
Oh yeah,
and that's not gonna work for me. That's not gonna work because you know what that is? That's the guy who's like, "I can drink 40 beers and then
yeah,
40 shots in college." I think this
yeah.
is all valid, and these are conversations that we should have at 5, 7, and 10, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think,
Okay.
the more you say it, the more they'll probably, uh, you know, curse you under their breath. But, like, seriously, they do start drinking in middle school and they do start having
Wait,
sex in middle
middle
school.
school?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know kids that, I mean, not my kids, but I know some kids were having sex in middle school. So, yeah, ironically, I like 10 is, I mean, 5, I don't know if he's doing it, but
There, yeah.
I told you that story. These girls, and the girls find ways around it, some of them, and the boys find ways around it where, they're not getting pregnant because they're doing something else,
Yeah,
honey.
mhm.
They
Alright,
have
so
other
how do I
hoes.
weed out the like, I don't mean to helicopter, but I do kinda wanna weed out the kids that I don't like. Can I do that? Like, can you do that
Yeah.
with your daughter? You can? I don't think I can. Let me hear it.
No, no, your kid's age, you totally can. I mean, that's actually, you nailed it. That's the hardest part, is when they're in high school, you can't anymore. But for now, you can establish those when you have people over, you just don't invite that kid over, and because it's not leaving out at that point, because you're at the play date stage.
Mm.
Then once you're having parties or going to parties, it's a bigger crowd, so it's harder. And that is hard, who you can hang out with and who you can't. And you'll see as a parent, the kid that's going to be kind of a and the kid that's going to be funny and stuff. But listen, I was the class clown, and I look how great I'm doing. I
Mm.
think that the when you're likable in life, it seems better to me. And I do think that even in the fraternities, when you're likable, they don't mess with you as much in sororities.
Okay, but you don't want I don't want my daughter to be a pushover and be everything to everyone.
No, 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 no. That I'm talking about my son. My daughter is a stone cold, and I
Ooh,
want her that way. I
yeah.
I do think, no, I really do. I have a Krav Maga instructor come here every year so that they can learn how to beat the crap out of anyone that goes near them. And
Yeah.
yeah, they've got to be so tough. It's
So
hard for girls. I do think it's harder for girls.
and
In my experience with my boy and my girl, my son just likes everybody and everyone likes him. My daughter, it's the drama is brutal.
okay, what like, is the drama amplified? Obviously, you're gonna just laugh that I'm even asking this with social media. So, again, we don't have it yet, and I'm just gonna block it as long as but I also want her to be included, but I don't care if I'm included in my life. Why do I care if she's included? Who cares?
Yeah, I totally think it's two different sides, right? I I felt like they were going to have to deal with it at some point. I'd rather them learn how to deal with it when I could kind of monitor it. That was my way of thinking. But I would say the majority of my friends, who probably are better moms, waited. I know my sister waits with my niece, and she's 16. Now, there is that level you kind of get left out of some stuff, and you kind of don't know what's going on as much. But I think that's kind of a good thing. I don't take anything too seriously. I think that it's like, I definitely was a helicopter mom. I mean, my 19-year-old son is still on the tit, but I don't take anything too bad because, they're not doing anything I didn't do, or
Yeah,
worse. I mean, man,
I
they're
know.
so much better than I was in
Well, that
every way.
okay, but you mentioned the difference between the girls and the boys.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, my girl is first, so your boy is first. Yours was kinda
Yeah.
like training wheels. I was, like, thrust into the deep end. Like, God was like, "I'm gonna give you a girl first just so you could really pay for therapy for the rest of your life for both of you."
I know. I know. Yeah, but you'll get through it. And then the boys, listen, boys aren't easy. It's just different. And it's kind of like, what do you get involved in the girl drama, or are you like worried about them like getting hurt in sports or drinking too much? Like you said, like, these sorority girls aren't making you drink. That's more of the guys. The sorority girls is what you look like, what you own, what you have. And but there's also like this really, really cool sisterhood that they all get along and stuff. And I think if she finds a crew of girls that, you know, are into the same thing. I think what I don't like is the moms that are holy or, oh, so my kid doesn't do this and my kid's so good and my
And they
as
do.
a bull. Nah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're doing all the things. You're just denying it. I'd rather be realistic. I'd rather
Okay.
kind of know what they're doing.
Okay, so how do I toe the line? Because my oldest is at the where if her friends have older siblings, like they already have social media and they already have
Yeah.
cell phones, and I actually steer her away from those girls, but I don't think it's bad for her to be exposed to that. So I'm sort of towing the line where I do kind of want her to be nerdy, but I want her to be like friends with everybody. I want to have it both ways.
Yeah, I know. My daughter's really academic, high achiever academic wise, but she's always had social media. I think that like the I want her to get into any school. Like you said, it's so hard to get into college now. There's no way I could have gotten into any college. And so I need her to be academic, but she's also, pretty social. It's like, I don't know. I think the more you worry about it, the more everything up.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I
I
mean,
like
that's
that.
my thought. You just can't. Not that I'm easy breezy, but back to when you're going through that thing, they say, the doctor will say, well, what's the worst thing? Is it the sweating so much that you literally have sweat coming off your butt?
Yeah.
Or is it because you're crazy and they give you a little Lexapro to get you through the day? That helps.
Well, I mean, I love drugs. I'm not on drugs right now, and I'm wondering, maybe I'm a candidate, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I haven't really started. I mean, I can exhibit signs of being a sociopath or a
Yeah.
psychopath. I'm not
I
actually
always
quite
thought that.
yeah, I'm not quite sure the difference between those 2. But
No.
how do I know, like, if is it the night sweats? I kinda wanna dive into menopause because, I mean, like I said, I don't mean to drill it. I'm just so much younger than
No,
you.
yeah, no, you were born so, so, so many years before
Yeah.
me. I'm a 1900s baby,
Ba
and
basically. So,
yeah,
like, what are my first signs? Am I gonna hate my husband?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. That's
100%.
and my
That's
kids.
one of the signs. It's the night sweats, but, like, I don't really care. The night sweats don't bother me as much, but Steve and I would joke that I would go to bed as Nanook the Eskimo in a sweatshirt, and I'd wake up like Madonna naked and sweating.
Yeah, but you know what? That's actually it's like a workout. Maybe you're
It
losing weight
is.
in your sleep.
Yeah, like, I
Uh,
don't need to work out today, I just sweat through my bed.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I also love though is that now I feel like you're kind of this test generation again because we're probably not the same generation.
No, 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 God, no.
No, God, no. Yours is like a couple ahead of me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
is that now it's like cool. Like it's like cool, but it's not really nothing
To
of
have
fun.
menopause?
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay, no,
god,
it's
who
not
said
cool.
that? I'm
It's
gonna beat the crap out of whoever said that.
it's trending. Trending and cool are different things. When
Yeah,
I get on the internet, it must be like because of my birth date, I get on
yeah,
social media and you would think that I'm full-blown menopause.
yeah.
I mean, I also get like a lot of chicken material, but we can host a different episode about that. But it's
No, I
like
know.
chicken, dogs, kids on social media, and then menopause. So, like, a lot of it's accurate, but I'm like, "Menopause? No,
Y
not
Yeah,
me."
yeah, yeah. It's probably because 'cause you're Googling, like, weighted vests and because this old lady told me about the weighted vest, and now everybody in the town wears them now, thanks to you.
I put
But,
them on my dogs. They need to work out.
yeah, I guess it is trending because I guess that my old lady generation is like, "Oh, what the F? We're some bad we need to know how to deal with this," And, um, you know, some of my friends are 50s and they look in their 30s. It's so we want to kick it. We want to still feel good. And like, I'm not going to lay down and feel bad. I'm going to feel good and work and take care of my kids and stuff. And there are a lot of things on the market. And I'm telling you this. If I will lick it, I will swallow it. I will lather it on my body, stick it up my vagina or my butt. And if it works, I'm in.
Do
Give
it.
it to me. I'll take it.
I know I did a story about, like, the supplementation industry and how they're targeting women in menopause, and I wanted to write at the end of my story is, "I am also contributing to this multi-million dollar industry. I have all the weighted vests, I have all the bands, all of the creams,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't even matter if I'm not even in it." The doctor's like, "No, I think you're okay." I'm like, "Check again."
No, 100%. And I actually, now that they're saying hormones are okay, you have to like kind of go through a series, or my doctor, of if you're a BRCA, or if you have cancer in your family and stuff. But the problem was, they were like, you could take hormones. Yeah. And I went to pick it up at CVS, and they said it was denied because they thought me, 50-year-old mom, suburban mom of two, they weren't going to cover it because they thought I might be transitioning. So I,
No. Are
I
you? Do you have something to say?
no, I mean, listen, don't let this voice fool you. I'm a woman.
Okay. Okay, okay.
So I didn't get them, but I've heard they're unbelievable.
Oh, wait,
Um,
you really didn't get him?
no, because I didn't want I didn't want to pay out of pocket.
Would you I don't wanna know what you would pay for in lieu of paying. You'll spend hundreds of dollars on all the supplements, but then when
I
it comes down to, like, a $25 testosterone cream,
I
you're like,
know, I know.
"No, that
No,
needs to be covered."
it was actually really expensive, and it was every month, and I was like, "I don't know, I think I'm fine." Women are so freaking tough, and you think about it, we have a baby, we're wearing a diaper, we have stitches in our vagina, and we're up all night taking care of babies. We're not sleeping, and then we're going back to work, and we're so hardcore that this is kind of like that next step of hardcore.
Yeah,
But
it's like,
listen, if a drug can fix it, I'm taking it.
"Oh,
I
yeah,
I
100."
just I am not transitioning, and I did try to tell CBS that, but
Okay, well, maybe they'll watch this and they'll let you get it.
I hope so. Hook me
Did
up.
When did you go back to work? That was sort of the last thing that I wanted to tackle with you was a lot of women, like, with kids my age, I hear them saying, "Okay, all my kids are in elementary school, some are hood rats like mine in the public
No.
school system," right? I know, I know, I know. And I hear them say, "It's time for me." I mean, I just feel like that there's a lot of fear there that women are like, "Well, I don't know, I'm getting really comfortable. I could just play tennis and do Bible study," which is awesome as well. I'm not judging. And so,
100%.
when did you go back?
So, really kind of you said it. The kids were in school. We switched schools, and I thought, you know what? I'm not really doing anything. And um, my husband, when he started our company, he was gone a lot, and we had very traditional. He worked, I was home, and then he started to be home, and quite frankly, working from home and me being home was really the big push for me to get the heck out of there. And then I did, and I was, oh my God, I'm using my brain and I'm succeeding. And I want my daughter to see it, and I also want my son to see it. So I did when they were in high school.
Okay. Was it
Kind
hard?
of middle school, I was part-time, and then high school full-time, and now I'm full-time. And I really like what I'm doing, but I also think that it's so important. I think the one thing COVID did help with is knowing you could do things virtually, that days I want to go see my son in college, or my daughter has, homecoming this week. So I know I'm going to be taking, well, she doesn't want me to come, but I am going to come to different appointments. It's like, I'll just look through the windows,
Yeah.
and I want that flexibility. So if it's kind of, I have a great scenario owning the business, I can do that. I do feel bad for moms that are like flying out of town and miss events. And like you said, like telling your kids now not to do all that stuff is good, but the time when they're actually doing it is like, it's scary not to be around for those things, but you're home on the weekends when they're really doing the stuff.
Yeah, and I was on an airplane once, my daughter was 2 years old, I was flying to New York, and I remember sitting next to a working mom who said, "Actually, in some ways, you have to be more present when they're older. It's not necessarily the quantity of time, but the quality of time where you're with them." And I thought that was, like, really powerful that I 'cause I was so worried that I was leaving my daughter, but she was 2. I could
No,
leave my
she
daughter
doesn't
now,
know.
and she'd be like, "Okay, well, you don't have to come back." But,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, watch her sleep at night and,
Yeah, but check under her nose.
yeah,
I
and
take
check her breathing.
selfies. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
no,
think that's
try to
weird,
look.
no. I
It's
tell her
not weird.
again, college and education unimportant. You can just live with me forever.
Right. Right. I mean, listen, my son's majoring in fraternity and he's doing just fine. And, I think that being around a lot, if they don't want you around. And once they get their cars or their license, they're not home anyway.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But Life 360, those types of helicopter stuff, it's psychotic, but it's also amazing. Like,
okay, so what would be your final piece of advice for me as a fellow helicopter? Also, I know I'm not supposed to be their friend, so I can't be their friend. I have to be their parent, but
yeah,
maybe I secretly do seek their approval.
yeah, a hardcore. If my daughter compliments me, I feel like I'm flying. I must look amazing if that bee is going to compliment me. You know what? My biggest advice to any parent all the time with young kids, big kids, is never say never, and just don't be stupid. Like,
Yeah,
remember what you did. They're going to do the same thing, and the threat's bigger now with social media and the cancel culture and stuff. But you're such a good person. And like, I know not many people think that, but I know you differently. And I think you're good.
I don't
You'll
know about
be
that.
fine. I mean, thank God your husband's an angel.
Yeah, wow. I think about that too when you were saying, like, him working at home, and and my husband's retired. He's not retired,
Good.
he's working again, and I wonder if it's because I work from home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got his butt back in.
And he was
Yeah.
like, "I am not dealing with this."
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd be like part-time right now if my husband worked in an office or something, but I just there's no way. Because also, like, I don't want him to die because he's a good dad and I'll kill him. So,
Yeah,
you have to
true.
really know your limits,
I did
you
think
know?
about that when I was like, "Oh, who could I tap in for this?" I can't think of anybody.
Yeah. Well, you're smart-ish,
Yeah.
but it's because you still have your brain because 'cause you're young.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Okay,
If
and
you
then
have an
wait,
extra
before I
kid, every kid takes more brain away.
okay, so don't have a f okay, I won't.
Don't have
Okay.
a fourth. I've told you this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a lot of chickens.
Mhm.
Okay, and then that's my last question, but when will my daughter start hating the way I breathe?
Oh, that is the second she gets her period.
Okay. And I
Yeah,
can't delay that at all? I can't do I give her the COVID shot? What do I do?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that helped for my daughter.
It's always good to be the dry run.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're hoping that, she'll get pregnant one day, but, she yeah,
Mhm.
it's unbelievable. The other day I was typing and the tap on the computer, just put her in orbit, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Ooh, alright," and you just drink a THC can or,
Mhm.
pop a pill and you get through it.
Yeah, okay. Alright, and what I think I'll just try to go immediately if the drugs are not available, I'll just try to go to the other room because I don't want my blinking to disturb her, which I think is on the horizon.
Right, right, and we need to breathe and we need to blink. So sometimes I just get in the fetal position in my closet, and that's also good for, the excess gas you get during menopause. And
Menopause. Okay.
so you'll
Well, I
be
learned
good.
so much from you, Maura. Thank you. I hope you can be our, like, designated commentator for all things from no delayed periods to
Yeah.
THC and night sweats.
Yeah, I've got my degree on Google for my medical, so I'm actually and my new best friend's ChatGPT, so I'll be fine. Anything you need to know, I'll look it up.
Okay, we'll have you next week then. Thank you, Maura.